Yo, what is going on, you chill charger bugs? Today we're taking a look at Malamar Giratina, the closest thing we have to a Malamar spread deck in post-rotation standard. So let's go ahead and get right into the list. First up, we got the three Giratina promos with the Distortion Door. Pretty much infinite attackers in current standard because no one plays Muck anymore, so we can always get them back with the Distortion Door ability. Put them back on the bench, load them up, and start swinging with them again. So you got three of those because we want the ability to get like double distortion door, even triple distortion door damage in play. If we play two, we can prize one, maybe not even see it the whole game. So especially with the way prize trading works right now, and a lot of people are playing a lot of tag team decks, so like three of our prize cards can just be stuck the whole game. Like we can definitely draw them maybe by knocking something out, but they can get stuck there for a little while. Like we're not gonna be able to see any of those three prize cards. You know, you don't go down to one prize card as as consistently anymore, unlike in past formats without the tag team Pokemon. Now that tag teams are a thing, sometimes you draw three prize cards and then you draw your other three prize cards. So those three prize cards kind of get stuck there. So it's want the three of them, want to be able to at least find two of them pretty consistently. So three Giratinas as our main attacker. And then we get into our only other real attacker in the deck. We can attack with Malamar, we can attack with Inkay, we can attack with Mew, but we got the Espeon Deoxys GX. So the first attack is 10 damage plus 30 for each Psychic Pokemon in play for Psychic, Colorless. But he's really in here for the GX attack, Psychic, Colorless, plus put 10 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. If you have 3 extra energy attached to it, you can put 20 damage counters wherever you want on your opponent's Pokemon. So he's kind of like the closer in this deck. Let's say we hit a Pikarom for 130 with Giratina, and then we somehow draw 3 prizes. But that Pikarom is on the bench. We don't play Custom Catcher. There's not really room to keep this deck consistent and play Custom Catcher, I don't think. I haven't found a way to build it that it would work that way anyway. So then you're like, well, maybe hit it up with Distortion Door, some spell tag damage, and then close it out with the Cross Division GX. Put 10 damage counters on that Pikarom on the bench, and it gets knocked out, right? And then you draw your last 3 prize cards, boom, that's game. So that's what he's in there. He's the closer in the deck. Maybe we set up like 2 tag teams, end up with a bunch of damage, and then they have a third tag team in their active. They use a plan against Pikarom again. You hit a Pikarom, you hit a Raichu, 130, 130. They bring up a new Raichu. Knock out a Tina, maybe you get a Shrine in play, do some spell tag damage, boom, bring up this guy Cross Division, put the damage down, knock out both those tag teams, draw all 6 prizes in one turn. If you build up enough damage through spell tags and Shrine, maybe you get 6 energy and you hit the Cross Division for 20 damage counters in play, and you do 10 on a tag team, 10 on a tag team, knock them both out, draw your 6 prizes. Yeah, he really is the closer in the deck, the Espeon Deoxys GX. He's what we use to close out the games. Have no gust effects in this deck, don't have any other like big hitting attacker. So yeah, Cross Division is the move to close out the games in this one. Next up, we got 2 Jirachis. Pretty staple in all Malamar decks. It's just kind of our consistent guy that we want to be our pivot. It's what we want to put our skateboard on, because may as well get a free card off of Stellar Wish every time we have to send something up that has free retreat cost off on the skateboard. 2 Jirachis, 1 Ditto, which is just a 5th Inkay really, because you got to be consistent by setting up your Malamars. So why not play 5 Inkay if you could, which we do, because we have to Ditto. 4 Malamars, nothing special there, obviously. Playing Malamar deck, you're going to at least play 4 Malamar. And then we got the 1 Mew, because it's a shame when Pikarom tag bolts and KOs 2 Malamars, so we got to protect our Malamars against the Pikarom with the Mew, and we can sometimes even use Psi Power to clean up knockouts off the bench as well, so that can get cute in there as well with the Psi Power. 1 Dedenne, we do play for Communication, so it is nice to have access to that ability draw power. A little bit risky to put it down in some situations because we generally want to be a 1 prizer deck just through using Giratina, but if you're far enough ahead and need to dig a little bit extra, or you want to dig early to make sure you're at least attacking on that turn, putting Dedenne in play is not a terrible choice. I got 1 adventure bag to go along with our 4 spell tags and 2 skateboards. Just a little bit of extra reach for the spell tags. I've been a big fan of adventure bag in pretty much any deck that runs spell tag, because generally, if you play in a deck that plays 4 spell tag, it's pretty important to find your spell tags as soon as possible. And no different in this build or in this deck. We got 4 spell tag. It's important for us to find our spell tags, get them in play early, and get them triggered by having our opponent knock out the Pokemon that it's attached to. So we got the 4 spell tag, 2 skateboard to be able to move in or draw around, and then the 1 adventure bag to find everything. Yeah, big fan of adventure bag when it comes to spell tag. Well, at least playing for them, anyways. Our Pokemon search cards, we got the 4 Treasure, 4 Communication. Pretty much the same as all other Malamar decks. Yeah, gotta be able to find our Inkays, our Malamars. These are really the only cards we can play that do that. So 4 of each of those help us find our Malamar lines. Next up, 2 switch cards. Sometimes we open with the Giratina or the Espeon Deoxys, or just extra switch cards. If we just have just the 2 escape board in there, it can be hard to find those, even if it is just a Jirachi we're trying to move. Sometimes we got to switch them out. Just extra cards to find that can move our guys around. Don't need too heavy of a switch count, because once we find 1 escape board, that's all we really need to do. We're not like Ultra Necrozma, where our Ultra Necrozma can kind of get stuck in the active, and then we have to move it the next turn. So that's never really a situation that comes up. Because we can just keep attacking with the Giratina. If a Giratina is interactive with 3 energy and it doesn't get knocked out for some reason, we can just attack with it again. We don't need to move it to the bench, right? So we got the switches in there, or just 2 switches in there instead of like a 4 switch count in something like an Ultra Necrozma deck. Excuse me. And then for the stadiums, we got 4 Viridian Forest, or 2 Viridian Forest, 2 Shrine of Punishment. I like the shrines in here a lot, but I don't think we can quite commit to a full line of shrine, because we still need ways to find Psychic Energy and get Psychic Energy into our discard pile. I've gone with a 2-2 split so far. That's what I've built into, is the 2-2 split. I feel like we do need a way to find energy and get energy in the discard pile, besides the treasure. The treasure is the only other way for us to get energy in the discard pile, I guess, besides the Dene. But we don't want to actively just be like, well, I need energy in the discard pile, got to put the Dene in play. We don't want a GX in play if we don't have to have one in play. I guess besides the Acrobikes. The Acrobikes can also get Psychic Energy into the discard pile. A little bit less consistent at doing that, but it's still possible for them to pull that off. You see something in an energy, you probably usually are discarding the energy off the Acrobike. So that's another way, I guess, we can get energy in the discard pile, which is super important. Now that we don't have Ultra Ball anymore, it becomes a lot harder to get the energy in the discard pile, but it's still definitely possible. And the supporter line is just the 4 Lily, 4 Cynthia. I feel like every deck I've shown you guys so far is just 4 Lily, 4 Cynthia. I just want to be consistent over the first couple turns. I want a good turn 1 supporter. I want a good turn 2 supporter, and Lily and Cynthia can accomplish that pretty handily. Especially with this deck, it's pretty easy to like play out our hand. So Lily is usually drawing us quite a few cards. So yeah, 4 Lily, 4 Cynthia. Feels like, as always with every list I'm showing you guys, but I don't know, I've been liking it. Just look for a Lily Cynthia turn 1, look for a Lily Cynthia turn 2. Just draw as many cards as possible. On the turn 1 is the most important part. It's just really important, turn 1, to have a good turn 1 draw supporter. Get going, get your deck moving, start doing something. I don't want to sit there and use a Volkner or a Erica for 3 or something like that. And then last but not least, we got our 10 Psychic Energy. I would almost want an 11th just so I can see the energy more often, so I have more options and more ways to discard them. Currently sitting at 10 though. That's what I've been rocking. It's been fine. Can usually start attacking turn 2 with the Giratina. Sometimes we're not attacking till turn 3, but sometimes our opponent's not attacking till turn 2 themselves if they like go first, so we're not too far behind them sometimes. Like if we go first, then they go, and then we whiff the turn 2 attack. Sometimes if they don't get like a turn 1 attack off with like a full blitz or something, then we're still kind of fine. Like if we go first against a Pikaram and they whiff the turn 1 full blitz, then we whiff the turn 2 attack, that's usually fine. They're not full blitzing until turn 3, or their turn 2, which is fine for us. But usually we're attacking on turn 2. I feel like I'm usually able to pull off the turn 2 attack with this deck. Gotta sometimes play around, like how you play out your treasures and Viridian Forest uses. You usually like don't always want to use them immediately. Like if you have a treasure and a Lily in your hand and you could treasure away, I don't know, let's say a switch and you already have an skateboard on Jirachi or something, but sometimes you'd rather just Lily, draw some cards, try and find an energy to treasure away instead, because like I said, getting the Psychic Energy in the discard pile is super important. And it's one of the harder things to do now that we don't have Ultra Ball with these Malamar decks. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on the deck. About all I got. I don't know if there's anything I'd really want to include in this besides what I've already got going on. Maybe something like a no, I kind of like it the way it is. I've been liking it the way it is. Attack with Giratina, get the spell tags on them, and then close out the game with the Espeon Deoxys. If you're not able to just go close it out with Giratina anyways, sometimes you can just keep attacking with Giratina and that's enough. But I feel like usually you need Deoxys mix in there to kind of close it out. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to give it a like. If you enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have you guys tried out the spell tag Giratina build of Malamar at all? If you have, do you think there's anything I'm missing? As always, with Unified Minds coming out, I'm sure you guys are looking to pick up code cards for BTCGO or cards in general. Be sure to head over to deaddrawgaming.com, pick up your cards there. Use the code Azul for 5% off. Have a good day. Thanks for watching, and peace.